Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I begin my main contribution, I'd like to thank the 6 questions that came forward tonight. I thought they were very valid and, in fact, wanted to get to the heart of what this motion is pushing forward. Hampshire County Council, after the meeting of CEP on the 12th of November, we saw an email from officers saying that these proposed cuts were coming forward. Now, I'm quite disappointed that they weren't made available before the CEP meeting. My understanding was that the council had received the notification prior to the meeting, so I'm quite upset that members of that committee weren't privy to those papers beforehand. That aside, I personally, and I know members on this side of the chamber, believe that an 81% of cuts to youth servicing is an absolute disgrace. Now, let me just walk you through a couple of things factually that the proposal takes. At the moment, there are 4 sites across the borough and 2 roaming services. That changes to 1 site and 1 roaming service. Do we believe that is a fair and reasonable cut? I don't believe it is. Do we believe that the funds being cut are fair and realistic? Currently, the budget is over £200,000. The proposal is £42,000. That's a cut of 81%. Do we believe this is fair and realistic? No, I don't believe it is. What about the hours served? Currently, youth services receive 204.5 hours a week provision across the borough. That will be proposed to 21 hours a week. That's 12 hours in the town and 9 hours a week for the rural provision. I don't believe that's acceptable, I don't believe that's fair, and I believe our young people, especially the 6 people who turned up tonight, believe that's an absolute disgrace. I care and I believe that they are absolutely right in that assumption. As well, Mr. Mayor, the mental health and the services towards LGBT provision have yet to be decided. Now, if Hampshire are coming forward with an 81% cut in the services that I've just mentioned, it's only fair to assume that they're going to be cut as well. What our motion looks to do is to take some proactive actions in this. Let's get round the table, let's make some provisions for a worst case scenario. We see also later in the questions, Mr. Mayor, that we have stepped in when county have cut a service. In actual fact, it's the anti-crime patrols that we have funded across the borough. I believe that the CEP should be tasked with looking at potentially stepping in again. Another thing as well that CEP looked at was the Your Big survey results. One of the results that came out of that was that less than 50% of people in the borough feel that the council listens and engages with them. I, for one, don't believe that that figure is very credible. I think that's a poor figure that we have. I think we should be looking to increase that. And I believe that letting CEP have a look at this will help bridge that gap, will help young people across our borough feel that their council does engage with them, does listen to their concerns, and will proactively look to seek a positive resolution. Mr. Mayor, if you allow me to be a bit cheeky, I left school a little bit sooner and more recently than some of the other people in this chamber. When I was at school, there were provisions across the borough where I knew that I could access, and they were frequently accessible to myself and my friends, and indeed I had reason to use them for various reasons. I don't believe that young people in this borough going forward are going to have that opportunity. If only 12 hours a week is there and 9 hours a week for the rural. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If there's only collectively 21 hours a week across the borough for young people who have serious concerns about a whole multitude of things, I don't believe that's acceptable, I don't believe that's fair, and I don't believe our young people should accept that. So, Mr. Mayor, I move the motion and I ask members to support it. Let CEP look at the stuff coming forward. Let's see if we can step in. Let's see if we can help shoulder some of that burden. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm seconding this motion. 81%, sometimes you read a number and it's just a number. But if the county's support for youth services cut by 81%, it's devastating to this town. In real terms, in people terms and in service terms. What is the damage of 81%? It's youth workers, it's young carers, it's connection services, it's services supporting the most vulnerable in our community. Young people in this town believe they haven't got a voice, and as you heard tonight, they have got a voice and they want to be heard. They want to be supported. The youth of today are the voters of tomorrow, and if this council is waiting for the rainy day to spend some of his vast coffers, the councillors need to look out the window. It's raining now. This is why we're bringing this motion. This is why we're not willing to stand by and debate budgets with county who never listen, don't care, and intent on Thatcherite policies that are damaging the people that we care about. And the question is, colleagues, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to support the most vulnerable young people, the disabled, the parents, the young carers, and the people in need? If, as a borough council, we can ring-fence bridge building programmes and fund a coffee shop, surely we can ring-fence youth service in this town. Thank you.